Hey, hey, hey. Hope that each and every one of you had an awesome and amazing day, right? Happy Wednesday to you. Welcome everyone to Beautiful Living with Keisa. I am your host, Keisa, and I'm beyond thrilled to embark on this journey with you. Beautiful living isn't just a destination, it's a journey that we take every single day. It's about deciding what we want our lives to look like and taking the necessary steps to make that vision a reality. Pillar three of beautiful living is all about physical beauty, which is about taking care of the one temple that we have been given, our bodies. And today, we have a very special guest, Dr. KTap, a Mayo Clinic trained, board certified family medicine physician, speaker, and holistic wellness curator with over a decade of experience in the health and wellness industry, right? So she uses her passion and positively impact the lives of others by teaching the wisdom gained as a chronic illness patient, coupled with her professional expertise as a physician and coach. Dr. KTap is here to share invaluable, self-care practices. So I need y'all to get ready as I welcome her to the stage because we're about to jump in. We're about to learn some things about self-care from a holistic health and wellness curator slash physician. Okay. And so I'm so excited to be welcoming Dr. KTap. Hey, hey, hey.
Hi, Keisa. Hi, everyone. It's so good to be here today to really talk about holistic self-care and how important that is for our overall well-being. Thanks for that beautiful introduction.
Oh, well, you're welcome. I'm over here like, okay, she got a lot of good stuff on here, right? Got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Is there anything else that you would like to add that I did not mention in your introduction?
I think you got everything right. I think one thing that I would mention is that, glowing in your wellness is so important. And especially for high achieving, purpose driven women, such as yourself, to really feel that, calmness, that connection, that confidence starting from within without compromising their wellness for their purpose driven work. So really focus on that.
Yeah. And you know what? I know we haven't even dived in with the questions yet, but that was so good because, so many professional women like ourselves, right? If we're not careful, we'll go so deep in with our work that we get burnt out, like I did. And I think I was just doing the most, right? And we find ourselves having health issues because of it. And it's a whole lot of things come out of it. You have your health issues, you send around snappy at people because you're tired, you're not rested, all those things. You got to take care of yourself because there's a whole lot of stuff. Your health, people don't want to be around you because you're groggy and cranky, and
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
and all that stuff. So let's just dive right in because in the intro I mentioned that you were there was a chronic illness, right? And so share a bit about your journey and what led you to become a physician first and foremost, and a holistic health and wellness curator.
Okay, so I grew up in Jamaica and, I always knew that I wanted to become a physician. I was one of those.
Right.
And growing up in the Caribbean, there has always also been that holistic approach to health and well-being. So I knew from before going to medical school that I was going to be viewing health and wellness, treating patients in a holistic way. Always knew that. That was just at the core of my being. And so, as it relates to the chronic illness, I was previously healthy, came to the States to start college in pursuit of becoming a physician. And in my second year of college is when I became ill. I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, end stage chronic kidney disease. So 2 options, start dialysis or get a transplant. So at that time, I got treatment through dialysis. And I
Mm.
was on that journey for quite a while, dialysis through the rest of college, through medical school, got a transplant in my first year of residency, then had to go back on dialysis a couple of years ago, which is when I made that shift from stop working in the clinic to this holistic health and wellness coaching journey that I am on now, because I had to take much better care of my health. You had mentioned burnout before. You experienced it, so did I. And I knew that I wouldn't be able to continue to work while going back on dialysis. Those two wouldn't be able to go together. I actually tried to go back part-time and it didn't work well for me. So I had to stop working in the clinic and started this wonderful journey in holistic health and wellness, where I really get to sit down with my clients, understand where they are within their life in a whole
Mm-hmm.
way, and then giving them the strategies and tools to say, okay, this is really what's going on, connecting the different parts of their wellness journey and saying, okay, this is what you need to do, and guiding them on the way on
Yeah,
their
that's
individual wellness path. I want to say one thing though
yes.
before we continue, and that is one of my other missions is really broad, and that is to help women, people in general, but my heart is with women, is to help them to stop looking at their health in a one-dimensional way, which is with physical health. Our health and wellness is much more than our physical health. It
Mm-hmm.
includes our spiritual health and wellness, our mental health and wellness, occupational, financial, environmental, intellectual, relational. There are 8 different dimensions. And so I want to break that pattern so that we're thinking about our health in a multi-dimensional way and allowing us to put those pieces together.
Well, you beat me to it. So thank you for bringing up the subject, because when I think about self-care,
Yeah.
beautiful living is holistic wellness. That is what my platform is all about, right? It's about the mindset, that's mental beauty. My second pillar is spiritual beauty. The third one is physical. The fourth one is relational. The fifth one is financial. The sixth one is professional beauty. What has God called you to do, right? And the seventh one, even though it's not direct, no, it is self-care. It's outward beauty. How are we taking care? How are we showing up? That's still part of self-care, taking pride in not just going out the door looking any kind of way, and that we're showing up for all the other aspects of our lives, right? And then I adopted one of my pillars back as an official pillar recently, social beauty, because we need connection, right? And when we don't have connection with people, people get sick. You really do, because that's part of self-care, right? And so I was thinking 7 was the number of completion. And that's why I initially had 7. But when I'm teaching and helping women on the journey towards beautiful living, to beautiful living, because it is a journey, it's a new beginning. And so 8 is the number of new beginnings. And so you beat me to it. I was going to talk about that a little later, but I'm glad you went ahead and brought it up, because it's not, like you said, it's not just about our physical, but it has a lot to do with it, because what we're eating and putting in our bodies and how we're taking care of ourselves, right? We both have experienced burnout, right? And so I don't want to just assume that everybody knows what holistic health and wellness is. So can you explain the holistic part, define that, so that our listeners can make sure that they are clear on what holistic health and wellness is?
Absolutely. So when you're talking about holistic health and wellness, you're looking at the entire picture of wellness, not just in one way, 2 ways, or 3 ways. So that when you're looking at your wellness, that way you feel complete and whole within yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's what it is all about. Holistic health and wellness, it really starts from the inside out. And a lot of the times when we think about our health and we think about our wellness, again, we're thinking about things that are external, right? So we think, oh, I want to be healthy. I want to be fit, right?
Yes.
We want to look good, right? We do. That's what beautiful living is all about, right?
Right.
But where does it start? It starts from within, and we miss that piece of the puzzle. And that's why I love what you do. And I see that what we're doing is so aligned. And I'm so happy that we're having this conversation today, because we do need to have this conversation more. Right?
Yes, it needs to happen. And when I, learned more about what you did, I was like, oh, I have to have her on the show, right? Because the whole premise behind Beautiful Living is for you really to take in all these tools, right? I have a book, The Journey to Beautiful Living. I know you may have something as well, right? The glow and all those things. And it's like, okay, you may not pick up this book right away, but what can you glean in this moment? What can you take away from listening tonight and apply it to your life immediately to start the journey, right? Courtney says on YouTube, definitely 8 dimensions that I work on consistently. Looking good definitely helps you to feel good as well, right? And I have a cousin on here, so I love you too. I'm really like I'm so glad to see you. And so I look like I have some other people over here on Instagram. So thank you for joining. And so, can you share some? Okay, before I even get, yeah. So, can you share some practical self-care practices that our listeners can incorporate on like a daily basis?
Okay, absolutely. There's so many different things. One thing I will say is you have to find what is in alignment with where you are in your life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there are many different ways to take care of yourself, right? And you have to figure out what you need and what is good for you. Number one. Number two, you have to do that thing consistently. Now, for me, self-care really means listening within. It really does.
Yes.
Again, everything starts from within.
Yes.
So, we need to listen to our intuition more. We need
Yes.
to listen to that guidance from within. We need to listen to God. We need to listen to the universe. Whoever, whichever divine being you believe in, I believe in God, right?
Yes. Me too.
So we really need to tap into more of that. There's so many distractions on this
Mm-hmm.
earth plane that allows us to again look outside of ourselves and
Yes.
be distracted by these things that cause worry, that causes doubt, that causes fear.
You're
But when
right.
we're able, taking care of ourselves means that we need to know when we need to let go of certain things. We need to understand what we are consuming, what we need to really feel, what we want to feel
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. So, one of the things that come to me with regards to self-care is boundaries. We've all heard that word before. And
Yeah.
it's so important for our mental, emotional wellness, as well as our spiritual wellness too. Another
Yes.
big one is just different mindfulness practices to tap more into self,
Yes.
find that connection that sometimes we feel disconnected within our own
Mm-hmm.
bodies. And that's why we feel anxious, we feel worried, we feel all of these things that cause tension and resistance. And mindfulness practices are really helpful. So for me, I love going on gratitude walks,
Yeah.
right? Because three things happen. I'm connecting with nature, which is
Yes. I love
huge.
nature. I'm huge.
You're a huge fan too.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Number two, I'm moving my body.
Yes.
And number three, I am grateful for the things that I actually have.
Yes, yes. I'm glad you brought that up because right before, the show started, I was walking through the house and I was like, well, let me just go ahead and close the blinds because by the time we're done, it'll probably be like a little dark, whatever. But in that moment, even as I was twirling it, I just started thanking the Lord for just different things, right? Things that we take for granted, right? I just started walking through the house, just thanking Him and being more conscious and deliberate and intentional with showing gratitude. Any moment he could snatch it away, right? At any moment. And we take it, we just, I think a lot of us society wise, it becomes an everyday thing. So we don't thank God, for things like that. Courtney says shout out to Jesus. And so yeah, shout out to Jesus. And so, and we take things for granted, right? And so you mentioned one thing that I'm really big on, right? And you said boundaries. And so you mentioned two things. You mentioned boundaries and you mentioned that, within our body what's going, something. And a lot of times people keep moving and keep going and not listening to what our body's telling us, right? Our body, like we are designed to our bodies to tell us that something is not right, right? On the flip side of that, those boundaries is so important because a lot of times we set boundaries or don't. And if we set them, it's up to us to communicate those boundaries. And it's also up to us to make sure that we don't overstep our own boundaries, because we'll set a boundary and then don't hold to it. And then you expect, all those things. That's still self-care. Like,
Yes.
you have to be in relationship with yourself first. Self-love, all the self-love piece, the self-relationship piece is so important, because that's where the self-care starts, with
Uh-huh.
yourself, right? And then with those boundaries that you have to put in place to make sure other people are not overstepping or disrupting your peace. And that goes to everybody, every single body in your life. You may have to love some people from afar,
Yep.
right? You may have to put some, like, I can only deal with the person this amount of time. I can't get rid of them out my life because whatever the reasons are, but I can only deal with it. But you have to identify that. And then sometimes you may not communicate those things. You just know, and you need
Right.
to hold on to it because you know how it makes you feel, because your body naturally tells you something just don't feel good.
Uh-huh. I'm so happy you brought that up. We really do need to listen more. We really
Yes.
not only just listen because we listen and then we ignore.
Yes, right.
Right?
Lydia said boundaries are beneficial, and so I think they are. And again, we have to set them, and not only set them if they need to be communicated. We have to communicate those. And
Mhm.
once we communicate it, we can't be going double dutching with them now. You know what I'm saying? Because the moment that you don't stand true on that boundary, especially with another person, and they are able to step over that boundary, they ain't gonna listen to nothing else you say. They be like, child, she
Nothing.
told me that last time. I
Yes.
can, yeah. So that's good. So those are two things I wanted to bring back and highlight. All good things said good evening. So I have an autoimmune disease that causes,
Mhm.
definitely contributes to my burnout. Um,
Mhm.
and that's
Mhm.
on IG. So do you want to speak to that?
Yes. Thank you for sharing that, because we need to be aware of what again, going back to what our bodies are telling us, especially when we have a chronic condition. And when we're speaking about those boundaries before, we need to set them even more. And Keisa, you said set, communicate, and keep, right?
Yes.
And you have
Somebody
to
put that in the chat. Set, communicate, and
and
keep. Put that in the chat.
put that in the chat. Exactly. You have to really know your worth,
Yes.
because we can get into the people pleasing aspect of life.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're doing that, we are not caring for ourselves.
Correct.
We're putting other people first. So
Mm-hmm.
it's so important when you have a chronic illness to, one, listen to your body, mind, and spirit. Make sure that you're feeding it well, making sure that you're communicating with people about these boundaries. There's just so many different things, but that's definitely one thing that I want to talk about. Listen to what is being given to you. Listen to
Mm.
your guidance and move
Mm-hmm.
forward in that way. Oh, one
Yes.
more thing. Be
Mm-hmm.
your own advocate for your health.
Yes. Yes.
Nobody knows your body more than you do. Nobody knows your
Ooh.
mind and spirit more than you do.
Yes, that's so important. And I'll to your point, I've had to go and advocate so many times for myself, right? And I remember going last year, and I kept having headaches, and I'm like, I don't have headaches, so something is not right. So the first thing they wanted to say, oh, well, just take up some Motrin or whatever. I was like, nope, I'm not taking Motrin. Something is not right, right? So then I started to lose weight a little bit, and then I started to gain weight. And it was just like, I said, something is not right. I went back. My headaches are still here. I'm not just taking something just to take it. Y'all have to run to and I think by the third doctor, so let me tell y'all something.
Tell them.
Don't tell me nothing else about oh, now you got migraines. No, I do not. I don't have migraines. I'm not going to let you tell me I have that, because I don't. And I'm not claiming it. I'm not. So do some tests. You got to do something else.
Yeah.
Girl came back. They said, oh, you have acute thyroid something or
Uh-huh.
whatever.
We're
And
gonna say
had I not been
that.
pressing it, you see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And they didn't put me on medication. They just said it'll end on its own, But the key thing was, I kept saying, every time y'all keep coming, I'm coming here every week because my head is still hurting. Don't y'all see my weight keep going up? Like, I was just here 2 days ago and it's 5 pounds. Like, something ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
They was like, oh yeah, like you ain't even paying attention. You have to be an advocate. You can't just go in there and don't talk and don't say stuff, because I had to make them look at the history. Like, I've been coming in here,
Right.
and then this girl said I don't gain two more pounds. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing no different. So
Differently.
something is not right, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so the biggest thing is for you to be an advocate. That is so important. Like, you have to speak up for yourself. Don't just take an answer for an answer. Do your research. I mean, that was just a minor thing. I've had to speak up 3 or 4 times and
Yep.
have to go in there and say, well, did you not see my email before I got here?
Right.
Because I tried to give you some background before. They get sick of me, you
You
know.
weren't prepared.
Yeah, but but because I'm so adamant,
Yes.
I've been the one finding out the things.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I figured it out. So make sure this aligned. And they be like, you were right again. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I went to school for the wrong thing. So you have to be an advocate. Rachel said, I am guilty of not setting boundaries, and the consequences are loud. Yeah,
Very
that's
loud,
not good.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you have to set, communicate, and keep those. And it's a practice. It's not something that you can just do most times, because if you used to people not, used to not communicating what a boundary is and sticking to it, you may have to start off with baby steps, but you got to keep practicing it. Because there may be an area in your life that you may not be as strong in communicating the boundary, but that doesn't mean that you don't communicate. You just have to keep doing it until you get sick and tired of repeating it and put your foot down.
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know.
Let me add to that too, is back to the health advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not, if you don't feel as if you can advocate for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
find someone who can advocate for you, whether it's a friend or a loved one. So I don't want you
Right.
to feel alone in that situation. And then as it relates to the boundaries and it's hard to keep them, you're not the only one, right?
Yeah.
So if you do need some help with that, make sure that you're seeking the help so that you don't feel as if you're in this rut. You're trying this thing, it's not working. You're trying this thing, it's not working. Maybe it's how you're doing it that's not working. So get some guidance where that's concerned.
Yes, yes. She says, all good things says, I truly would like to find the balance for regaining my energy from prescribed meds. I guess from the autoimmune disease.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's anything that you can offer to that. Um,
Yes, what I was going to
okay.
say is that, if she wants to reach out to me and
Mm-hmm.
have a discussion, I would be glad
Okay.
to do that.
So reach out to her. I'll have the information in
Mm-hmm.
here. So just circle back.
KTap.com. You can just email me, info at drktap.com.
Okay, so that you have that. And it's Chantrice. Hey girl, says, oh, she put in there, set, communicate, and keep those boundaries. They all are putting that, set, communicate, and keep those boundaries. Yes, it is so important because that's part of self-care. People think about self-care as going to the spa. People think about self-care as going to get their nails and toes done. People, it's the things of stuff that like cost you money to go and do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure
And
enough.
it's like, yeah, it's like, but it costs you nothing to go walk in nature and reconnect, right? It costs you nothing to set a boundary. I mean, it costs you get some peace. That's what you gain. Somebody else may have an attitude on the other end, but that's not your problem. It's not
Exactly.
your problem to be worried about or concerned with, right? You have to make sure that you do what's best for you first. The
Mhm.
people pleasing has to go out the door. If it's something that you don't want to do, you have to know that no is okay. No is a good word. No is not a bad word. No is a good word. And it's safe and it's okay to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And as long as you're coming from a space of love,
Yes.
that's all that matters. Your intention of saying no is not saying no to the person, but saying no to the situation or circumstance. And as long
Yes.
as you're coming from a place of love, that's your intention, then whatever the recipient feels or says or does, that is on them. And that's
Yes.
for you not to take that personally.
Yes. Right. So, and that's what I always say too. Just if you like, look, from a place of love, and that makes the world of difference. Courtney says, one of my pastors said that true self-care is self-discipline.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mhm.
On IG, This is so good. Confirmation are good things. She said, I just spoke to someone about self love and self awareness this morning, realizing that you're never too late to discover things about yourself. No, as long as you're above ground,
Mm-hmm.
you should be discovering something about yourself every single day, just about, right? Right,
Exactly.
you're right. And every day that you're above ground, you get the opportunity to love on yourself even the more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love on yourself a little bit more than you did the day before, right? Self-reflection, self-reflect. That is self-care. Like I do that often, even throughout the day.
Often, all the time.
All the
Am I
time.
overdoing it? No.
No. Yeah. And so I have a question because we started out talking about, the professionals early on, right? And the
Mhm.
and how, work professional, professional women, and there's some men on here as well. So
I'm in.
yeah, and so being in the professionals, a lot of times they don't even stop to eat, or people don't stop, even, yeah, I've been guilty, but I put myself on a schedule, what I'm saying? And sometimes I can stick to it, maybe sometimes I can't, but I get back on, right?
Mhm.
So how can business professionals incorporate self-care into their hectic schedules?
Great question. You were just mentioning about eating. I think we need to prepare ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm,
We know we're
mm-hmm.
going into um, a full or a packed schedule. So how can we plan to be more mindful? How can we practice those mindfulness practices before we get out of bed? Can we prepare our meals so that we know, okay,
Yeah.
this is what we are going to eat. Maybe not for the full week. Maybe that's too much. Maybe just for half the week.
Yes.
Because think about it. We eat 2 or 3 times a day, right? Let's just say average people eat 2 or 3 times a day. Think about how much time you think and energy you put into thinking about what to eat and
Yes.
how you could put that time into doing something else to
Yes.
be more efficient, right?
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
planning for the meals alone is such a game changer. It really
Yes.
is. And you just take one day out of the week, usually a
Yeah.
Sunday, or just some time over the weekend and say, okay, this is what we need to eat. This is what we need to get at the grocery store. This is what we're going to plan, and then go from there. It makes a whole lot of difference. It really does. And for snacks too, because sometimes, guilty as charged in the clinic, I have to be snacking as I go along. There's no time for me there's no half an hour or an hour when you're working as a physician or a
Right.
healthcare professional. Let's just say that. There's no
Yeah.
time. No, no, no. Nobody has time. Mm-mm. That is not how the healthcare system is set up.
But that is the craziest thing, right? Because y'all don't make the time, and people are coming in there because they are not doing these things, and y'all not doing it neither. As a health professional, I've come in and been like, how y'all got to build this, y'all have to do something else. Like, as a healthcare
Yes,
professional, y'all have to come up with another system, because you have to be able to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. And y'all up
100%.
here trying to take care of other people and not taking care of yourselves.
Yes, absolutely. But here's the thing, it has to go, that change, that shift has to happen on the level up here, meaning like the overall healthcare system has to shift, because
Yeah.
that is what we have been put into that system.
Yeah.
If it was up to us, we wouldn't have it that way. We would want to spend more time with our patients. So, when you get frustrated at a healthcare professional, whether it's a physician, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, nurse, whomever within the healthcare system, just know that we don't want to deliver care in a very short period of time. We
Right.
really don't. But that is how the system is set up.
Mm.
And it's more so the system to blame, and we're just trapped in that system. That's why I got out of that system, and I was forced to do so because of my own health.
Yeah, and that's good that you took control. It's like, you know what? My health is more important. It's forcing me out, but I don't look at it as a force, as a redirection. Now
It
look at
is.
what
That
you're
is the
doing
way I'm
now.
like, when I said it, I'm
Yeah,
like, of
no,
course,
no, you wasn't forced. It was a redirection,
it was
right?
a
Yeah,
complete
God,
redirection. And
yeah,
it was the perfect time as well. It
yes,
was.
yes. God redirects us all the time.
Mhm.
And you look at things like, this wasn't happening, because I even had my own personal experience where I didn't look at it as, I decided to leave. however, but I was like, I knew what God was doing. I knew what was behind what was happening, right? And so people are used as vessels as God redirects our path,
Uh-huh.
right? And so that's basically what has happened, as it relates to you. And now people get to heal and be better with them within because of your holistic approach. And and so that's beautiful. And I know you said something about planning when we was talking about these meals and things. So I think as long as we have to take the time to plan, but there's going to be somebody who wants to say, I still don't even have the time to plan my meal because on the weekends I have to take these kids. They got this going on, that going on. We eating out. It's
It's just a lot going on. And
yeah.
it's true. It's true.
Because even like now when I don't have anything prepared, I find myself going in the cabinets like, you ain't even got nothing in here. But luckily I don't buy junk like that at all. So I'm normally just walking through here eating almonds. Like another hand.
I knew you were going to say nuts. I knew it.
I have this huge thing of almonds. So I'm pouring in my hand. I was like, what else? But when I prepare, I'm more thoughtful to stop. And I'm like, it's time to go eat.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
It's true.
Eat, yeah. And then because it's already there.
Exactly.
But when it's not there, I'm like, I got to figure it out anyway. I just,
Exactly. Because the thing is, we got to eat. We got to eat. So when we say that we don't have enough time to plan, that's a limiting belief that we have because we haven't tried the preparation of the meals.
Right.
So we don't think that we have the time. But just try it. Whoever is listening, just try it. If you feel as if you don't have time, if you're one of those people that's always like, okay, what we're going to eat today? Okay, what we're going to eat? Just really think about the time it takes, the energy it takes to do that, and just try a different way. If that way is not working for you, okay, try a different way. Just try it and see what happens. If you want to experience something differently, you have to do something differently. If you want to experience something differently, you have to be something differently.
That part. And you can't stay the same because staying the same is what? Crazy, right? Insane.
It's insane.
You can't say that you don't have time if you're not actively trying to find the solution to whatever that is for you, because what may work for me may not work for Dr. KTap and vice versa, but we have to find whatever that is that will work for our particular household so that we can be better, prepared so that we, take care of ourselves. So with that being said, we talked a little bit in the very beginning about self-care is just not about the physical body, whatever. Well, all of it's part of the body, but, the physical, it is about mental, it's about your spiritual relationship and your finances and all of that. So what are some self-care practices specifically aimed at improving mental health?
This is a good one. I love it, especially for high achieving, purpose-driven women. There are just a lot of responsibilities that we have. And so our mind is constantly going with the to-dos and all of that. Now, here's the thing. If there are a lot of things that are going on up here, if we have a lot of clutter, let's say mental clutter of the to-dos, maybe the anxiety, maybe the stress that goes along with the to-dos, then we do not have clarity. We cannot have clutter, mental clutter and clarity at the same time. We have to choose one.
Right.
So in order to have more mental clarity, or when you do have more mental clarity, you will become more productive.
Yes.
You're more mindful, you're more self-aware. So in order to get more clarity, you have to do those mindfulness practices. One of the ones that I love to mention is what we already do, breathe. So breathing exercises are wonderful to experience more clarity and more calm within ourselves. So when we take the time to, say, for example, a breathing exercise is, breathing in for 4 and exhaling for 8. That's just an example. The whole point of breathing is to make sure that your exhalation is longer than your inhalation. And what that does, it stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is just the nervous system that allows you to calm down.
Okay.
that
Okay.
rest and digest nervous system, right? You might have heard of rest and digest. That's the parasympathetic nervous system. So when you're able to calm down because you're focused on the breath, not what's going on in your mind before, you become more at ease, and then you're able to go through the day with more clarity. Another one that I will mention is meditation. And really, breathing is a type of meditation,
Yes,
to
for
tell you
sure.
the truth, right? Because I remember when, I tried to meditate or heard about meditation, there was some resistance there, a few years ago. Oh, I can't meditate. How can I stay still? How can I clear my mind? Right? Our mind is not going to be completely clear. But if you can let go of those thoughts when they come in, and if you're doing the breathing exercises, refocus on the
Mm-hmm.
breath, then
Mm-hmm.
that will help tremendously. And I recommend doing any of those mindfulness practices at the beginning of the day so that you're setting your day up with clarity so that you can go through the day with more efficiency, productivity, and more at ease, which is what we all
Yeah.
want. Who wants to feel stressed and anxious? Nobody.
So take us through that exercise, because I'm sure that pretty much everybody that's tuned in, there's at some point their mind is bogged down with a lot of clutter, and I'm going to speak to that as well, because there are some other things that I feel we can add to that, that can help with the mental clarity, or whatever. But you mentioned breathing, right? And that's something we do all the time. So walk us. Let's take a moment to do that exercise, and everybody, y'all can do it at home, because this is something they can take on, like, okay, I heard this on the show yesterday, so let me take a moment, like this is right on time. So just walk us through that.
Absolutely. And I will say this too, is that if you have the ability to close your eyes and do this, then go
Mhm.
ahead and do it. But if you are at work or you're talking to or listening to someone, you can do it at that time as well if you can't close your eyes. Okay?
Okay.
So just so you know that. All right. So since you're listening, you should be able to close your eyes. So go
Hmm.
ahead and close your eyes. All right. And just be aware of the natural rhythm of your breathing. Notice the rising and falling of the chest, relaxing your forehead, your neck, your shoulders that hold a lot of tension. Relax your belly and really relax into your seat. And so when you take a deep breath in on your own, feel the coolness of the breath against your nostrils. Feel the cold air against the back of your throat. And notice that when you exhale, the temperature of the breath changes. It's more warmer against your nostrils as the air expels. So just notice that. Now, when we are going to take a deeper breath in, I want you to welcome in that air. Welcome all the goodness that you want to receive. And when you exhale, go ahead and release all that no longer serves you, whatever that is: stress, anxiety, depression, doubt, fear, whatever that is. Let it go as you relax more and more into the chair. So we're going to do 5 rounds of the breathing. So breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4, and let go for 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in deeper, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more. Inhale, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now return back to your normal breathing. For some of you, that might have been uncomfortable, maybe because you haven't been deep breathing for a while. And that's okay, it comes with practice. And one thing that I didn't mention is when you are inhaling and you're expanding your lungs, you can draw more air into your lungs by expanding your belly. So remember how when you see baby breathe, right? When
Mm-hmm.
and you see their belly go in and out, that is
Mm-hmm.
what we need to return to in our
Mm.
breathing, how we were supposed to be, how we are supposed to be breathing.
That was awesome. Okay, I hope y'all actually did it. My eyes were closed. I actually probably started. I started before you even said let's do it. But it's gonna be a reminder, like when I'm at my desk, in my office, and taking a moment, like, okay, just breathe, right? And
Mhm.
so, thank you for taking us through that exercise. That is something that you all can do, even sitting at a red light, right? A moment, even sitting at your desk or wherever, at the kitchen table, you can take a moment to just do that. And that feels like the last time I was blowing out, though, I was like, I ain't got the 8 yet. I don't blew that out, honey. I'm blowing all that stuff that I don't want to hold on to it. All of it is being released. Like, I ain't got 8 seconds to releasing you right now, right?
No more.
Yes, releasing you right now. And so, I think, but another way to clear that, keep it cleared, is to write things down.
Journaling.
You're right. If you journal at night, even throughout the day, take a moment to write down the things you need to get done, right? And if you're taking a moment to write down those things that you need to get done, you're dumping it out of your head, and it causing you not to feel like you all over the place, overwhelmed, all of those things. You are releasing it off of you. And one of the things that I like to say about that is, if you have the opportunity to plan your day at the top of the week or even at the top of the morning, you can't people can't just get on your schedule,
Mm-hmm.
because you already know what you have planned. And so when somebody call and ask, can you do something for them, you'll already be able to say yay or nay based on what you have written down for the day.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then oftentimes we take on other people's stuff. And then we all upset, stressed because we didn't get to our things, but we allowed somebody else to dictate our day.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Absolutely. And we need to take responsibility for that, right? Because it's so easy to blame the other person. Why did this person call me? But
Mhm.
you made the choice.
Yes,
Back to the boundaries like we
absolutely.
were talking about before, Keisa, right?
Yes,
You
absolutely.
know?
Yes, thank you for joining, Keisha and Charlinda. Thank y'all for joining. Yeah, it's all of those things. Right? We have to take accountability, but when we write out our day, people can't just dump their stuff.
Right.
Somebody called and asked me, could I do something today? I asked them when. I said, let me look at my calendar first. I don't
Exactly.
I don't usually say yes to anything. And if I give you a yes, I'm saying, hey, I'm telling you yes because I'm thinking, but it is not a in pen because I'm not in front of my calendar. But most time I'm
Right.
like, let me check my calendar before I give you a yes or no, because I don't know. You know,
Exactly.
and I need
Yeah.
to be able to definitively say, yes, I can, or no, I can't. And that's
Yeah.
self-care. Like, that's self-care.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioning, okay, writing down what you're going to do for the day, what the plan is
Mhm.
really self-care because you're being intentional for that day
Mhm.
and not
Mhm.
just blowing with the wind with anything
Mhm.
that comes that can disrupt your flow, right? I'm
Right.
all about living in ease and flow and grace. I'm all about that.
Yes.
So, it's one of those things where you said it so well, Kisa, is, you plan your day, but there's flow in that day. And so
Mhm.
if there is an interruption that comes, you get to choose, say, okay, does this go with the rest of my flow?
Mhm.
Or does it need to be put off for some other time, if at all?
Yes, all of that. And that's the importance of planning out your day,
Yeah,
planning out your week. Or if you can't do a whole week, at least that day, or and it can carry over, right? That's the
yeah,
importance of it. Because when we allow the people to dictate our day, that boils over into how we feel, that boils into in our bodies are taking on that emotion,
yeah,
and it spills over to other things. And if you already have health issues like blood pressure and all that kind of stuff, that ain't making situations no better.
It's
You
not.
know?
It's not ripple effect.
So right. So we
Mm.
said about them boundaries earlier. You got to set those boundaries. That goes into the boundaries thing. Like plan your day out. Your boundaries say, I can't do this today,
Mhm.
but I can help you tomorrow.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, not to say I won't help you. I just can't do that right now.
And that's very okay.
Yeah, and that's very okay. That is
Mhm.
very okay. Um, what are some common barriers to self-care and how can people overcome those barriers? So we've been talking about, like I said, the kids, I got to do this, I got to do that. That's why I can't take care of myself, all these things.
Mhm.
But, what are some other common things? Because we know about the family, dynamic,
Right.
the professional woman or man who just go running rapid. But are there any other ones that we?
Yeah, absolutely. At the core of burnout or stress, especially when it relates to these different responsibilities that we have, where we are not taking care of ourselves the way that we know that we deserve and that we desire, is really rooted in self-worth.
Mm,
Rooted in
mm,
self-worth and what we truly value. So what I would say is, for anyone that's listening, write down your 5 core values that you have and
mm.
know that one of them should be you on there. Usually I say number 1. I'm
Yeah.
going to say number 2 because your higher power should be number 1.
Okay, I can see that because
Yeah.
that's true. I
Right.
had spiritual beauty as number one,
Yes.
but I switched it because I said you have to have a mindset to want
Yes.
to have the relationship with the
Uh-huh.
Lord. So yeah,
Right.
but I can see that in that order.
But that self-worth and what we value, it's something that we really need to sit down and reflect on,
Mm-hmm.
because our lack of self-value comes from what we've learned as a child, right? Especially the first 7 years of life. Our
Mm,
brain is a sponge. So we absorb everything that we see, we hear, we feel, right? The energy that surrounds us. And so sometimes we have to go back and figure that out,
mm-hmm.
right? For sure. And sometimes that takes us into where we are right now, because
Right.
the life that we are living right now. So we have to really think about, okay, where did I learn this from? Why am I treating myself this way? Did I learn it based on what I saw or what I heard or how someone treated me as
Mm-hmm.
a child? And guess what? Guess what the beautiful thing about beautiful living is? I had to do that. But what is beautiful is that we don't have to be defined by our past. We can learn from our
Yes.
past
Yes.
and choose our destiny.
Yes, I say that all the time. When I talk about having a kid at 14,
Mhm.
and I said, but your past does not define your destiny. I've been, yeah. So that is so true. Like, the world try to define these things for you, but you get to choose. You get to show up. You get to say, this is how I'm going to show up. This is what I want for my life. But
Mhm.
you have to do it. I can't do it for you, right? You can't do it for me, but I
Mhm.
have to have the mindset to want more and not
Abs-
to be labeled as whatever that was,
mhm.
and to be able to move, have the mindset to do the work that I need to, or get the help that I need so that I can flourish and move forward.
Exactly. And you mentioned another thing too, why, we don't feel worthy is also society,
Yeah, society.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Society plays a big role in that. And we've been conditioned to think and act a certain way within our culture. But again, the beautiful thing is we don't have to. We can choose to do things differently as long as we are aware that there's another way that we can live and another way that we can be. That is the key. When we feel disempowered, nothing is going to change. But when we feel the power within ourselves, right, and we know
Mm-hmm.
what our worth is, then we are going to show up differently. That's why I always say show up to glow up, because
Yes.
when you're showing up and you really understand who you truly are deep within you, you can do nothing but glow. You can do nothing but shine, and that radiates to other people around you, and that is what has a big impact in the world. And that's why I absolutely love what you do, Keisa, because you are shining bright, you are glowing. in
Thank
your beauty.
you.
You really
Thank
are.
you, Dr. KTap, for that. Thank you. I'm really striving every day to live the life that I'm asking, or telling women and men, because I my primary, like you said, is women, but I do have men that tune in.
Mhm.
And if they're willing to listen so that they can live a beautiful life, baby, let the world turn, okay? As the world turn. But I really do. I'm not saying things that I haven't done or willing to do or currently doing. I want it to be, you can see it. I don't have to open my mouth.
Yes, your body
And
is.
yeah, and that's what I strive to do every single day, right? I strive to show up in that way. Pillar 7, because I just added. See how I just threw that. See, it got me out because I threw that new pillar in there, like,
Okay. Talk about
last month, a couple of weeks ago, right? But anyway, and so pillar 7 of how we showing up. And so how are you showing up for the thing that God has called you to do matters, right? How we are showing up. I am showing up for beautiful living every single day. And every day is not necessarily beautiful, but it really is, depending on your perspective and how you choose to look at your situations, right? And so to the eye, it's like, it's been pouring down, raining. I mean, every single day we've had rain like it's nobody's business. Yesterday, honey, I went to the side of the bed and just got down because it was so bad, right? I was like, is it coming in the house or what, right? But I love it when it rains.
Me too.
I love it when it's looking like this because it reminds me of fall. For one, that's my favorite season. But it's beautiful to me. But other people will be like, it's so ugly outside. It's so this outside. And I don't look at it that way. I get in this cozy feel when
Mhm.
it's like this. And I want to go and do some work and get some stuff done. Like, oh, it's raining. Let me get some stuff done. So I don't look at it. So it's perception.
It is. It
It's
is.
perception. And
Yeah.
so, we have to stop looking at our situations and things as bad. Not to say that they, not to say
I
some
like
of the
the
stuff,
word challenging rather than bad.
right? So we do have challenging moments,
Hmm.
but in that moment, feel how you're going to feel. Sit with whatever that is, dissect it, do what you need to do to come out of it. Don't stay in that space.
Hmm.
That's beautiful living.
Hmm. Hmm. I love it. I love it. It's that shift in perspective. Either going to choose victimhood or you're going to choose
Yeah,
victory. Which one are you going
right.
to choose? Because you have a choice to make in every single situation. You had a choice to come and listen to us tonight, which has been a beautiful conversation,
Yes,
right?
yes.
You have. And I love that you gave the example of rain because, yeah, it's one of those things when people say that, I'm like, no, mm-mm. I know where you're coming from. Because for me, when I see rain, I'm like, oh, wow, the trees, the plants, they're getting
Yes,
their water that they need to, show up how they're showing up in its beauty so that we can
yes,
have the fruits and the vegetables to nourish our bodies. So you see how that shift in perspective from doom and gloom to nourishment and vitality?
yeah.
Victory?
That's what I said. It's perspective, and you just did that. I'm talking about the rain and stuff, and you went ahead and the up the ground. And I had a friend that said, "We need rain. We need rain. I'm gonna have to go out here and water my thing." She just said, and every conversation was about, "We need rain. We need." I said, "Girl," I said, "Lord, please let it rain," because she said something about this rain one more time. And so then we got rain, and she still didn't get rain. She was like, "Really, Lord?" So she out there watering stuff to make sure that it got what it needed. Because she was like, my plants need water, my grass need water, and it does. The same way we need what we need, and the Lord doesn't look, he doesn't miss anything, right? And he takes care of all things. And
Absolutely.
so as he takes care of us. So, I'm so glad for this conversation on this evening, Dr. KTap. I thank you so much. Like, this has been really, really, really good, right? And so before we have a few more minutes. Let's see if we have any questions in the chat. All good things that she's in nursing school. They teach us to care for others and promote self-care. However, the instructors never allow us room or time to actually do it for themselves. So contradictory to the healthcare setting. And we talked about that a little earlier. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that a little to light. But yeah, that needs to be petitioned. Why everybody out here, whatever, that needs to be some type of petition, because how can you take care of other people if you can't take the time to take care of yourself? And
Exactly.
so, before we get out of here, are there any other things that you want to share that we hadn't touched on? Because I know I talked about the mindset, a little about the professional. We mentioned a little bit about, the nutrition piece, or it not being so, but it is, it's an addition to.
Mhm.
We talked about spiritual beauty, all those things. Um, I guess maintaining a balanced diet
Mhm.
and regular exercise. Do you have anything to add to that before we?
Yeah, and a couple things as we're closing out. So with regards to nutrition, you have to think about, we're living beings, so we need to be eating more living foods that
Mm-hmm.
allow us to experience an energized um, body, right? Mind
Yes.
too,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so you can just eat more of those living foods,
Yes.
right? It's hard to make a complete shift, right? Which I would love people to do, but start bite size, simple step.
Mm-hmm.
Have more fruits. Maybe start with one more fruits each day and more vegetables. What I like to say is when you look at your food plate, make sure that half of it is fruits and or vegetables, depending on what meal that you're having or what snack that you're having. Simple, easy to comprehend, and easy to execute, right? Because it's visual. So that's
Right.
one thing that I would say with regards to nutrition. What was the other thing? You said
Exercise.
okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to use the word exercise. I
Mm-hmm.
like to just use the word movement.
Okay. Okay. Movement.
Moving your body. This is very important because we are energetic beings. Everything that we are even seeing is energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we are able to move, we're moving that energy within our bodies, right? There's so many
Mm-hmm.
different things to say about movement, but that's just one thing. I wanted to come from an energetic standpoint because we're
Mm-hmm.
not talking about that enough. So
Right.
that's why you feel so much better after you go out and walk. Maybe you're walking on a treadmill, you're releasing that energy, you're getting that energy moving, you're not holding on to things energetically. And so that's what helps. It increases blood circulation, you get more mental clarity, right? When you move your body and so forth. So be intentional about moving your body more. Maybe you're not going to say, okay, I'm going to move my body every day if you know that's not going to work for you.
Right.
Move more. Maybe you didn't move at all last week.
Right. Don't set yourself up for failure. I don't like the treadmill though. I'd rather
Exactly.
go outside, and I
Me
have
too.
one sitting here, and I'll walk past that thing like you don't even exist. I'm like, I am not.
Exactly. You bring up a good point, Keisa, because you have to find out what works well for you. And
Yes.
if you're not a gym person, don't go in the gym.
Right. You have to
Find what
figure it
works for you
out.
because you want to enjoy what you're doing as
Right.
well, right?
Right.
And
Like,
then I would say get someone that maybe can do it with a group, maybe one other person, hold you accountable. It becomes more fun that way as well. So those
yeah,
are two things I would say for the nutrition and the movement
in
piece.
the movement piece. I like
Yeah.
the word movement over exercise. I like that. I
Mhm,
do find myself when I have somebody to move with,
mhm.
if you if dedicated to say I'm moving with you every day, I'm going to show up every day. If you tell me
Right.
you're going to move with me 2 days a week, I'm going to show up. But the moment I don't have a person to move with me, I have to decide, and I'm like, Lord, this
Effort.
is yes, it's like this is really hard because that is not my thing, right?
Mhm,
But I'll go out and walk in nature. I
mhm.
will do that. I still haven't done it as much as I used to. I mean, I used to do it every morning. And so
Mhm.
now just trying to figure out what that pace is going to look like for me and
Right.
figure out what really works for me and
Mhm.
not because I feel like everybody is doing it that way, but what works for Keisa. And
Yeah.
so that I can be consistent and stay focused on what works for me.
Yes, that
Well,
consistency piece. Yeah.
yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to add as we close out?
The only thing I'd like to add is just to remember or to know and understand that your wellness lies within you.
Yeah.
Everything that you think you need, you already have right where you are. You just have to tap into that. And that light that is within you, don't allow it to be dimmed by anything or anyone. You are here on this earth to shine bright in your wellness. And also remember that your health and wellness is not just your physical health, like we stated
Yes.
before, right?
Yes.
Those 8 dimensions of wellness:
Yes.
physical, mental, spiritual, financial, occupational, environmental. relational, intellectual, all your purpose, all of those things are so important. So that's what I would say in closing. Thank you so much for having me,
Oh,
Keisa. It's
you're
been such
welcome.
an amazing conversation today.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And so, how you said those 8 dimensions, I'm just going to give them the pillars of beautiful living. That's mental beauty, spiritual, physical, relational, right? Financial, outward, professional, and social beauty. So, that was where my 8, I think I got them all. I hope I didn't miss one because I wouldn't count on my fingers. But yes.
I might have this one too.
Yes, yes. So we want to thank you so much, Dr. KTap. Thank you for so much for joining us today and for sharing your powerful story and practical self-care tips. Self-care is, as we have heard, is not about just going to the spa. It's not about going to get your nails and toes done and all of that. We didn't even get into any of that. If you got to take a moment to step aside, it shouldn't cost you a lot, right? You can do self-care with less than $10. Going to go get some ice cream and walk in the park is self-care. You still connecting with nature. You still doing something for yourself. You still in a space where you're not allowing other people, to disrupt your day. Curl up and read a book is self-care if you want to get into those things, right? But it's not where people feel like I don't have self-care because they think it's all this grand, grand stuff. And it's not that. Now, being able to go to the spa is great. Being able to do some of these other things is great. And not to say not to do those, but on a daily basis, I don't know anybody that's doing that every single day. So these are things that we have to do, right, to live our beautiful life. And so thank you so much. We have heard from Dr. KTap, who is as I said earlier, a Mayo Clinic trained, board certified family medicine physician, speaker, and holistic health and wellness curator. And we truly thank her for coming on here today and sharing her expertise with us as we are on this journey to beautiful living. To our listeners, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember that self care is not a luxury, right? But it's a necessity. It's about making time for yourself and prioritizing your well being because you matter. You have to know that you matter. And every day above ground is an opportunity to make your life beautiful. It's not about profession, but it's about progress. Let's take this journey together, supporting and uplifting one another along the way. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. Until next time, stay beautiful and keep living your best life. And know that beautiful living awaits you.